Listen to me very carefully, because what I'm about to share with you can change how you experience love forever. Most women think men get addicted to beauty. Wrong. A man may admire beauty, he may even chase it, but that's not what keeps him. What truly makes a man stay, what makes him think about you when he's alone, when he's quiet, when he's had enough of everyone else, is something far deeper. It's emotional. It's invisible, and once you understand it, you'll never have to wonder why he suddenly pulled away or what you did wrong ever again. Because by the end of this, you'll know exactly how to create a connection so powerful, so emotionally magnetic, that he'll feel bonded to you in ways he doesn't even realize. And here's the part most women miss. It's not about being perfect, mysterious, or playing hard to get. It's about 3 simple, natural feminine behaviors that awaken something inside him, something that makes him need your presence the same way he needs air. Stay with me till the end, because the 3rd behavior, the one almost no one talks about, is the reason a man becomes loyal for life, the kind of loyalty you can't force or fake. But if you don't understand these 3 behaviors, you'll keep reliving the same heartbreak patterns, attracting men who only take, who disappear, who confuse you, and you'll never know why. Most women believe attraction is about how they look, the hair, the smile, the outfit, the little things they do to stand out. But that's not what makes a man fall and stay. What actually pulls a man in is something you can't see or touch. It's how he feels when he's around you. It's not visual, it's emotional safety disguised as desire. You see, desire begins in the body, but addiction, the kind that makes him crave you, respect you, and want to protect what you share, begins in the mind. A man may chase what catches his eye, but he commits to what captures his peace. That's the part most people never talk about, because deep down, men are starving for something the world rarely gives them. A space where they can exhale, where they can stop performing, where they don't have to prove anything. And when a woman creates that space, when her presence feels like calm in a world that keeps asking him to be strong, that's when his brain and his heart start forming a bond that feels unbreakable. I've spent decades studying human behavior, psychology, and relationships, not just in theory, but through real conversations, real heartbreaks, and real healing. And one thing is always true. Men become addicted not to appearances, but to experiences. They return to what feels good to their soul. Think about it. He might be surrounded by beautiful women every day, but the one he dreams about at night is the one whose energy felt like home, the one who made him feel seen, the one who didn't just look good, she felt good to be around. That's the emotional logic behind connection. You don't have to chase him. You don't have to prove anything. You just have to understand how to activate the part of his mind that ties you to warmth, peace, and admiration. And that's exactly what these 3 feminine behaviors do. They awaken the emotional circuits in a man's brain that connect safety with desire, respect with attraction, and calm with commitment. It's the combination that makes him say to himself, often without realizing it, I don't know what it is about her, but I can't stop thinking about her. In a world full of noise, you become his quiet. In a life full of pressure, you become his peace. And once he feels that, he'll move mountains not to lose it. So as we move forward, I want you to stay open. Let go of everything you've been told about how to keep a man interested, because what you're about to learn next, the first feminine behavior, will completely change the way you think about attraction. It's not about chasing love. It's about becoming love. Before we go deeper, take a second if this message already feels true to you. Tap the like button, not just for me, but as a promise to yourself that you're done settling for shallow love. Subscribe if you're ready to understand connection on a deeper level, because the next part will open your eyes. Let me tell you a short story. There was a woman, graceful, kind, the kind of woman who made everything around her look beautiful. She dressed with care, spoke with warmth, laughed easily. She never played games. She was genuine, loyal, and thoughtful. And when she met him, she gave everything she had. At first, it felt magical. He was drawn to her confidence, her presence, her smile. They talked for hours. He told her she was different. But slowly, something changed. His messages became shorter, his energy faded, his eyes, once full of curiosity, became distant. And she found herself asking the question every woman has whispered to herself at some point: what did I do wrong? She replayed every moment in her mind. She looked for clues in her words, her tone, her appearance. She thought maybe if she looked better, tried harder, cared less, he would come back. But the truth was never in what she did. It was in what she didn't understand. See, physical beauty captures attention, but it doesn't hold emotion. It's like a spark, bright for a moment, then gone. But emotional experience, that's what lingers. That's what he remembers when no one else is around. It's not her lipstick or her curves he misses. It's the feeling she gave him, or didn't. Here's the psychological truth. Our brains are wired for novelty, but our hearts are wired for safety. The male brain releases dopamine, the pleasure chemical, when something feels new or exciting. But it releases oxytocin and serotonin, the bonding and stability chemicals, when something feels emotionally safe and meaningful. That's why beauty can start the story, but it can't sustain it, because dopamine fades without depth. Even ancient philosophy understood this, long before neuroscience explained it. The Greek poet Theocritus once said, "Beauty dies in a day, but love is the breath of the soul." And science now agrees. The emotion that ties two people together isn't lust, it's connection. It's the peace of being truly seen. This is what creates what I call emotional addiction. It's when a man's mind links your presence to positive emotional experiences, warmth, peace, admiration, inspiration. His brain begins to crave the chemical pattern that only you create. He might not even understand it logically, but emotionally, you become his safe space in a chaotic world. And that's the real reason some men can't stop thinking about one woman even years after she's gone. Not because she was perfect, but because she made him feel something real. She made his nervous system relax, his guard drop, his heart open. That's the kind of experience no one forgets. So if beauty isn't enough, if it fades, if it can't hold his heart, then what does? What creates that invisible thread that keeps him coming back again and again, not out of habit, but out of deep emotional pull? So if it's not beauty, what does keep him hooked? It starts with something ancient, something most women have forgotten how to embody in today's world. A kind of presence that doesn't shout, doesn't chase, and doesn't need to compete. Let's begin with the first behavior, the one that quietly captures his heart and makes him feel something he can't even explain. It's not about looks. It's not about perfection. It's about energy, specifically feminine energy. Now, before you roll your eyes or imagine candlelight and flower crowns, let's define it clearly. Feminine energy, in modern terms, is not weakness, submission, or passivity. It's the power of being grounded, present, emotionally alive, and open to connection without losing yourself. It's the calm that disarms him, the softness that invites him to put his armor down. It's your ability to be, not constantly do. Most women today operate in survival mode. They've been told to chase, perform, prove, fix, and earn love, to show worth through effort. And while that energy can succeed in careers or goals, in relationships, it creates exhaustion, not attraction. Because here's what happens. When you're constantly trying to make things happen, to fix, to analyze, to control, you're sending a message to his nervous system that says there's no space to breathe here. But when you relax into your presence, when you smile with your whole face, when you take a breath before reacting, when you allow silence to exist without panic, his body feels it. His shoulders drop, his guard lowers, and his brain registers you as safe. That feeling of safety is rare. And in a world where men are told to be tough, unshakable, and emotionless, finding safety in a woman's presence is like finding water in the desert. Let me paint a picture. He's had a long day, the kind of day that weighs heavy on his chest. Everyone wants something from him, results, answers, leadership. But when he sits beside her, she doesn't demand. She doesn't fill the silence with chatter or questions. She just is. Her energy says, "You can exhale here." She listens with her eyes, not just her ears. And in that stillness, something powerful happens. His nervous system resets. He doesn't just like her, he needs her. Not because she's perfect, but because his body associates her with peace. That is feminine energy in action. It's magnetic because it gives what the world takes from him: rest, understanding, softness. Now, let's talk about what's happening inside his brain when this occurs. When a man feels emotionally and energetically safe, his brain releases a powerful mix of chemicals called dopamine, oxytocin, and serotonin. These are the same chemicals responsible for feelings of love, trust, and joy. Dopamine is the reward chemical. It lights up when he feels excitement, pleasure, or anticipation. When your energy is playful, present, and full of warmth, when you laugh easily, speak gently, and let him lead without resistance, it triggers dopamine. You become associated with pleasure. Oxytocin is the bonding hormone. It's released through closeness, touch, emotional connection, and genuine listening. When he feels understood by you, when he can share something vulnerable without fear of judgment, oxytocin floods his system. This is what creates trust and deep emotional attachment. Serotonin is the stabilizer. It brings peace, calm, and emotional balance. When he feels grounded in your presence, when your energy isn't frantic or reactive, serotonin levels rise. He feels emotionally secure and begins to link that feeling directly to you. This is what neuroscientists call emotional conditioning. His brain literally starts wiring peace, warmth, and happiness to your presence. He starts craving you, not for attention or validation, but for how he feels when he's around you. Now, take a moment with me and ask yourself honestly, do you rush to fix things when something feels off? Or can you sit in silence with him and let the moment breathe? Do you over-explain yourself when you feel misunderstood? Or can you trust that your calm energy speaks louder than your words? These moments of stillness, of surrender, are where your power lives. Because your feminine energy doesn't chase, it attracts. It doesn't prove, it embodies. It doesn't control, it trusts. And that trust is contagious. When a man feels it, his walls fall. His desire grows. Not just physical desire, emotional desire. He wants to open up, share more, be better, because your energy gives him permission to be human. That's why I call it the calm that disarms him. You don't fight for his attention. Your energy makes him choose you again and again without realizing why. But remember this, attraction built on feminine energy is only the beginning. It awakens his heart and makes him lean closer. But what determines if he stays, what transforms curiosity into devotion, depends on what comes next. Because while feminine energy draws him in, it's your self-respect that keeps him there. See, attraction might spark his interest, but self-respect earns his devotion. Because while he may be drawn to your softness, It's your boundaries that make him stay. Now, let's be clear. Self-respect isn't ego. It's not pride, arrogance, or a take it or leave it attitude. True self-respect is quiet power. It's the voice inside you that says, I honor myself, even when it's hard. It's knowing your worth so deeply that you refuse to trade peace for attention. Let's look at what that actually means. Imagine this. It's late at night. You're about to go to sleep, and your phone lights up. It's him, the man you've been talking to, the one who's been a little inconsistent. He texts, "You up?" Now, your heart jumps. You've been waiting to hear from him. Part of you wants to respond right away, to keep the connection alive. But you pause. You breathe. And instead of reacting out of excitement or fear, you choose calm. You don't punish him. You don't chase him. You simply decide that your time and your energy deserve respect. So you put your phone down and go to sleep. That single act, quiet, simple, unannounced, communicates more than any long message ever could. It tells him, I have standards. It tells him, I value my rest, my peace, and my worth more than your convenience. And that energy, that calm, unwavering self-respect is magnetic. Because here's the truth. Men notice everything. They notice how quickly you reply. They notice whether your boundaries shift when emotions rise. They notice if you accept crumbs or wait for consistency. And they treat you according to the standards you set, not the ones you talk about, but the ones you live by. Psychologically, this taps into something called the scarcity and consistency principle. When something is always available, the human brain begins to take it for granted. But when something valuable is selective, when it's consistent in its worth, it triggers desire. Men are wired to respect what they must rise to meet. If you give too much, too soon, before he's earned it, you teach his brain that your energy requires no effort. But when you hold steady, when your actions match your words, you become rare, and rarity creates value. Here's what most women don't realize. Self-respect isn't about withholding love or playing games. It's about balance, giving from fullness, not emptiness. It's the ability to say, I want connection, but not at the cost of self-betrayal. And when you live that way, men feel it immediately. You move from being an option to being a standard. There's a specific shift that happens in his perception. When he senses your self-respect, his mind categorizes you differently. You're no longer someone he can test or take for granted. You become the woman he measures others against. You're not the one waiting for his validation. You are the validation. You're not begging for love. Your energy inspires it. Every time you say no to confusion, you say yes to clarity. Every time you say no to chaos, you say yes to peace. And every time you say no to disrespect, you say yes to the version of yourself that only attracts respect in return. That's what self-respect does. It draws the line between temporary attention and lasting devotion. Now, here's something beautiful about this stage. When you combine self-respect with feminine energy, you create harmony. Your softness makes him feel safe. Your boundaries make him challenged. That balance, warmth, and strength is what keeps his attention for the long run. Because the truth is, men don't fall in love with women who give them everything. They fall in love with women who make them want to give everything. Self-respect doesn't scare a mature man. It attracts him. It tells him he's dealing with someone who knows herself, someone he can trust, build with, and grow alongside. So the next time you feel tempted to chase, over-explain, or prove your worth, remember this. You don't need to perform to be chosen. You just need to stand in your worth long enough for the right person to recognize it. But attraction and respect alone aren't enough, because while self-respect earns his admiration, there's one final layer that turns interest into lifelong loyalty. That's the part that anchors love beyond passion and builds connection that feels like home. That's what we'll uncover next. If this part of the message has already spoken to your heart, take a second and tap the like button. It's free to you, and it helps more women find this kind of message, women who are ready to love without losing themselves. And if you haven't yet, subscribe, because what's coming next, the third behavior, might be the most important one of all. We've talked about attraction. We've talked about respect. Now it's time for the most powerful force of all, the one that makes a man not only stay, but belong. It's called emotional safety, and it's the space that bonds him forever. So, what does that really mean? Emotional safety is peace without dullness. It's the quiet, grounded energy that tells him, you can be real here. It's not about never disagreeing or pretending everything's fine. It's about knowing that no matter what's happening, your connection is a safe place to land. Men crave this more than they'll ever admit. They're raised to be strong, stoic, and independent, to push emotions aside and keep moving. So when they find a woman who doesn't just listen to their words, but feels their silence, something shifts inside them. Let me give you an example. He comes home from work. His shoulders are tense, his voice is short. You can tell something's weighing on him, but he doesn't say it right away. Instead of asking 10 questions or taking his distance personally, you stay still. You give him space. You say softly, "Rough day?" He nods. And when he finally starts talking about pressure, stress, doubts, you don't interrupt. You don't try to fix it. You just listen. No judgment, no defensiveness, just quiet understanding. In that moment, something rare happens inside him. The walls he didn't even know he had begin to lower. His breath deepens, his body relaxes, and for the first time all day, he feels safe. That is emotional safety. It's the invisible bridge between a man's mind and his heart. It's what turns attraction into connection, and connection into trust. When a man feels emotionally safe, he doesn't drift, he roots. Because now, love isn't something he performs, it becomes something he lives in. Let's talk about what's happening behind the scenes, biologically, emotionally, and psychologically. When emotional safety exists, his brain releases oxytocin and serotonin. Oxytocin, often called the bonding hormone, builds trust, connection, and affection. It's what helps parents bond with their children and lovers build long-term attachment. Serotonin, the stability chemical, regulates mood and creates feelings of peace and contentment. Together, these chemicals anchor him emotionally. He begins to associate your presence with calm, balance, and emotional renewal. And here's what's fascinating. The male brain doesn't process love the same way the female brain does. For many men, safety is love. When he feels emotionally safe, his mind translates that feeling into loyalty. That's why some men can be physically attracted to many women, but emotionally loyal to only one, the one who makes him feel safe enough to be himself. Now, let's contrast that with what destroys emotional safety. When a man opens up and is met with criticism, mockery, or comparison, his brain instantly flags that experience as dangerous. When affection is unpredictable, warm one day, cold the next, he stops trusting the emotional connection. When his vulnerability is used against him later in arguments, he learns that opening up leads to pain. These patterns don't just push him away emotionally, they condition him to close off. Think of emotional safety like a delicate garden. It grows when it's nurtured with patience, kindness, and consistency, but it withers under judgment, control, or chaos. And here's the truth many don't realize. Emotional safety doesn't mean avoiding all conflict. In fact, healthy conflict can strengthen a bond when it's handled with empathy and calm. What matters is that both people know disagreements don't threaten the relationship itself. That's the power of emotional maturity. Now ask yourself, when he shares something vulnerable, do you really listen or do you rush to solve? When you're hurt, do you attack or do you express calmly what you feel? When emotions rise, do you withdraw or do you stay grounded and present? Every time you choose patience over panic, empathy over ego, and presence over performance, you're building emotional safety. It's what makes love feel easy, not because it's perfect, but because it's real. Here's something powerful to remember. Emotional safety is the ultimate form of attraction, because a man might be drawn to a woman who excites him, but he'll build his life around the one who calms him. It's not the adrenaline of passion that keeps love alive. It's the peace of connection. And when a woman provides both softness and safety, she becomes unforgettable. Her presence isn't just wanted, it's needed. So if you've ever wondered why men stay loyal to certain women, why they protect, commit, and cherish them, it's not magic. It's because those women made them feel emotionally seen, understood and accepted. They became his safe place in a world that constantly demands toughness. When a man feels emotionally safe, he doesn't wander, question, or pull away. He anchors, he invests, he builds, because safety to him feels like home. Now that you understand the secret, how emotional safety turns attraction into commitment, it's time to bring everything together. Because while feminine energy draws him in and self-respect makes him stay, emotional safety is what keeps his heart loyal. Now, let's connect all three. You now understand the three energies that quietly shape the way love moves toward you: feminine energy, self-respect, and emotional safety. Together, they form what I call the emotional trinity. Feminine energy attracts, self-respect commands respect, and emotional safety protects the bond so it can grow. Each one supports the other, like three notes in a song that only sound complete when played together. Because attraction without self-respect leads to imbalance. Self-respect without softness can feel cold, and emotional safety without healthy boundaries can feel heavy. But when all three exist in harmony, when your energy flows instead of forces, love finds its rhythm with you. This isn't about learning tactics, it's about embodying energies you can practice every single day. Imagine this in your daily life. You wake up and take a breath before reaching for your phone, choosing calm before chaos. That's feminine energy, being present instead of performing. You receive a text that feels uncertain or half-hearted, and instead of reacting, you smile and move forward with your day. That's self-respect, choosing peace over panic. Later that week, he opens up about something hard. Instead of judging or fixing, you listen, quietly, fully. That's emotional safety, creating a space where love feels protected, not pressured. These moments might seem small, but together they build an emotional pattern that's magnetic. You're teaching the world and him how to treat you, through your energy, not your effort. And here's something you need to hear, maybe more than anything else I've said today. You are not hard to love. You've just been giving your softness to people who didn't know how to hold it. Your calm was never boring. Your standards were never too high. Your feelings were never too much. You were simply showing up with heart in places that only understood control. But now you know better. Now you understand that real connection begins when you honor your own energy first. Because when you embody this trinity, when you attract with grace, respect yourself deeply, and create emotional safety, you stop chasing love. Love starts finding you. It recognizes your peace. It responds to your presence. It builds with you instead of against you. And that's the kind of love that doesn't burn out. It grows, steady, grounded, and real. So as you move through your life, remember this. Every time you choose stillness over struggle, clarity over confusion, patience over panic, you're building the kind of energy that love never wants to leave. You're no longer waiting to be chosen. You're choosing yourself first, and that choice changes everything. Because this is how love finds its rhythm with you. Take a slow breath. You've made it here through awareness, reflection, and truth. What we've talked about today isn't about perfection. It's about presence. You don't need to master every detail or get it right every time. You just need to show up as yourself, fully and honestly. Because love isn't built on perfect timing or flawless words. It's built on energy, intention, and truth. When you practice feminine energy, you allow connection. When you live with self-respect, you teach others how to love you. When you create emotional safety, you build a foundation that lasts. That's not manipulation, that's maturity. That's what it means to love consciously, not out of fear, but from a place of peace. And here's what I want you to remember as you walk away from this moment. You don't have to chase what's meant for you. You don't have to beg for clarity, force connection, or question your worth. You are enough exactly as you are, growing, learning, evolving. When you embody peace, you attract peace. When you honor your worth, you attract people who recognize it. And when you live with love, not desperation, you become magnetic without even trying. So if this message spoke to your heart, stay with me. There's more waiting for you. More lessons, more healing, more clarity. Because this isn't the end of your story. It's the beginning of the part where you finally understand what real love feels like. Love that's not rushed, not confusing, not conditional, but safe, steady, and real. Here's to love that brings peace instead of anxiety. Here's to connection that feels easy instead of forced. Here's to you, becoming the woman who no longer chases love because she is love. Thank you for being here. If this spoke to your soul, like the video so it reaches more women who need this message. Subscribe and tell us where you're listening from in the comments so you can get a shout out in the next one. Here's to love that feels safe, steady, and real.